call the meeting to order for November 14th, 2024 at 5:30, our regular council meeting. If everyone would stand with me, if able, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll have a prayer from Councilman Lloyd. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the many blessings you have bestowed upon us. Father, we thank you for our citizenry and our neighbors. Watch over them, keep them well. Father, we thank you for our staff, our police department, our fire department, our attorney. Watch over them in their daily functions and be with them. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I knew it was moving. I let it go. Yeah, I don't know. You feel better now?
Okay, well, I'd like to welcome everyone, our guests, and the folks that are here for some of our agenda items. And we'll jump into our meeting. Our next agenda item is City Manager's Report.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Derek, would you like to start off for us, please?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. We've been busy going around hanging up Christmas lights, changing light bulbs. Pretty much all we have left is putting up the Christmas tree, which I don't know, it's going to go in this corner. I don't know if y'all know about it or not. It's being moved from the parking lot by the post office. That's why those crepe myrtles were pulled out to open that up and all that. But to me, it looks a lot better with the crepe myrtles gone. Then we had a pole that got torn down on Southeast and County Road. That one, we went ahead and got that up and going. We had probably 8 customers or so that were out of power for about 4 hours. And then we had another pole that was at 404 West North Street. That one just rotted off, and it was thanks to Mr. and Miss Randall Jones' family. They provided us snacks and all that stuff through the night to, get that going and complete that job. Then otherwise, lately we've been having water leaks. We had a 2-inch at the Hillside Trailer Park south of town. We had a 2-inch over there that broke. That one, it affected, everybody in the trailer park. Then we had another 2-inch at 207 East St. Charles. That one, we got that complete today. And then over the weekend, we had a 6-inch at the 510 South Summit Street. That one, we were able to get that one repaired in a couple hours. Then we had a sewer backup, 204 East Huvar. That one, I think it was on the customer side, but we were able to get it resolved. Then other than that, Shoepot Construction, I'm pretty sure y'all saw them in town. They're working over here. Tomorrow, they found everything, yesterday and today. But tomorrow they plan on boring underneath the highway and then do the final tie-in next week and have that job complete. And then also they complete the Stavanoa leak and all that up that way.
So all the water behind the fire station?
That's from this underneath the railroad. It's some days you see it flowing down to the barber shop down there. Some days it's dry. So hopefully by next week that'll be resolved.
That'll be done.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
Other than that, that's all I have. Any questions, comments, concerns? Yes, sir.
Derek, just a big thanks to you and your crew for all the hard work that you do, but also a question.
Yes.
I think I'll talk to Richard about it. Continually get calls about the surges, electricity, and if that adversely impacts any number of people, their homes, computers, TVs. And of course, generally the answer is a squirrel, and it probably is.
Most of the time, that's what it is.
But is there some answer or something that we can do other than respond to the squirrels? Is there any option that we have as a community to help this surging situation?
Well, I know there are surge protectors that you could buy and tie it into your main breaker box on your house. That should help, save all your appliances and stuff. You could find that at your Home Depot, Lowe's. I don't know if McCoy's would have anything like that. But, yeah, I mean, we had to buy one for the warehouse because we had a surge and it messed up the contactors on the swimming pool. By luck, it burned the contactors, not the pool motors. So, we were able to save some money on that, but, I mean, any electrical, Leon's might even have some that you could go buy some. But,
And you're
also I'm looking into,
You're talking about whole home surge
Whole homes,
protectors, not
yes.
the little plug-in strips,
Correct,
correct?
correct.
Okay.
I guess that's where the power comes into the house.
yes, you would tie it into your main breaker, to where it protects all your other breakers below the main, to where it should, it'll protect all your appliances and anything else.
Richard, we could get that kind of information out to the community some way, so maybe
Okay.
they could protect themselves.
Get with Joe,
And-
put it in Mark.
Also, I'm looking into
Thank you.
better wildlife protectors, because a lot of the times it's to where the squirrels are getting on top of the transformers, and it bumps the substation to where everybody sees a blink. And see, back then they used bare copper wire, so I'm replacing that as like a squirrel wire, bird wire, where it has thicker insulation, to where whenever I have an outage there, I'm replacing that right away and then putting wildlife protectors. But for the air switches and stuff like that, I'm looking to see what other kind of wildlife protectors there are out there to help that.
Thank you, Derek, appreciate
Yes,
it.
sir. No
Thank you,
problem.
Derek.
Anything else?
That's it.
Other than squirrel season.
Thank you.
That's all you're doing.
Chief?
Yeah. Get the school boys.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council again. You have the report possibly in front of you, but did want to talk about the calls for service or maintaining. Pretty good, they're consistent, about 340 calls for the month. We did have a spike in animal calls. And we're learning all about that. We still have a pet, maybe if you follow the Facebook page, we have a dog over there I'm getting pretty close to. Staff thinks that we should adopt it, but I say no. But we do have a spike in that, and mainly it's dogs getting loose and chasing chickens. I talked to the city manager, maybe we entertain addressing the city ordinance that deals with animals at large, because it talks about livestock, but it doesn't, chickens are not, they don't constitute, they're not considered livestock. We have to, change the verbiage to fowl and things like that to include that, but that's something that we could possibly work on. Our arrest numbers were up. Traffic stops are maintained the same, about the same, and I'll answer any questions if anybody has them.
Chief,
Yes, sir.
I know you're working on some things, but we're seeing a real influx of illegal immigrants. I think you're gonna be helping us address that issue. We're certainly experiencing it in the schools, but we're also seeing it across the community,
Yes, sir.
obviously. And, we don't wanna become an Aurora, Colorado. I know you're working hard on that.
Yeah, and matter of fact, as mentioned to you earlier, tonight's presentation that we'll get to a little bit later will cover some of that in ways that we can combat it or at least thwart those efforts. It's gonna be hard to totally eliminate it, just because it always happens, but, there are some things that we can do to reduce the number that are coming in.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think we need to look at our ordinances too, probably, single-family households. And evidently, we don't have any kind of restriction on that sort of situation. We could probably address that in some ordinances, address that household number, because it does adversely impact us in the long term.
Yes, sir.
Any luck on full resource officer?
I was hoping that one would go without being brought up. And I had shared with Mr. Silky that early on, that if we waited until August, we would have a hard time, because typically the good SROs, they're already under contract or working for another school district. So we're optimistic still that we're going to get somebody in, but we haven't received any applications. to this, well, we received one, I shouldn't say any. We received one, and I met with her, but let's just say that not really in line with where we want to take the program. So we're still advertising for it. We just reposted it again on TML. We boosted it on Facebook 2 or 3 weeks ago. You know, and we're looking at different ways to outsource that information, but it's just not a good time of the year to be advertising for an SRO because, like I said, most of them are already in a school, you know, so. Yes, sir.
What about our combo position code ordinance or enforcer?
I'll speak to that.
Okay,
Yeah.
just speak to that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Misty?
Council, Mayor. All right, for the library visits, we've got some big numbers for October. We got 654 visits, so that's really good, going up from last year and also from last month. We had some audio checkouts, gone up to 53 of those, and then for our ebooks, we went to 77. For this month, or from last month, I'll go down to a little bit with the graph. We have 17,467 holdings, still going through our books, trying to make more room for others or new ones. We're at 1,698 patrons, still trying to make that 1,700, getting people every day. And right now on loan, we have 266 materials on loan. And then for the month of November, just to bring up a couple of days that are coming up, we have the Library Fall Fest on Monday, the 25th at 11 a.m. at the library. We're having story time, crafts, snacks, and games, if anybody would like to join. We still have the Weimer Chess Club meeting on Tuesdays from 3:45 to 4:45. If you're interested, please join us on that. And remember, on the holidays, we are off on the 28th and 29th, and also the 22nd for staff development stuff coming up. And then we had our Friends of the Library meet with family night at Weimer Elementary School last night. We did the Dr. Seuss theme, and we ended up getting rid of all our little prizes and stuff. And we had a good time with the kids over there. And that's it for the library. Any questions? All right, remember to always come and check out books. I'm still there.
Thank you, Misty.
Thank y'all.
Mayor, Council, I have several items to go through this evening. First, I want to report that with TCEQ, that going back to back in November or a year ago, basically, that there's been several periods that we did not do monthly reporting or reporting through our water or wastewater treatment as we were required to do. So we received some infractions from TCEQ with that, but we were given a timeline to get that corrected and resolved, so we are working to get that resolved. So we'll keep you posted on that, but we anticipate getting all that caught up to where we're supposed to be. Second item is, I've given you several handouts there regarding Safe Built. So we've got a report from Safe Built. We just got this, so I just handed that out to you. And I'll just let you go through there. It just breaks it down by the number of inspections that they did. The reporting period goes back to 9/13 through today. So there's been a total of 45 inspections that they've done, 3 with building. 2 of those involved commercial. There was 1 electrical permit, 5 plumbing permits, 3 fire inspections, demolition inspection, 25 residential inspections, and then and then the next page in your report there, you actually see code enforcement actually was in town last week, and they were here again yesterday, I believe it was. I've lost track of the days this week, but they've been in town 2 days now. They've responded to several complaints that we've had, and they're starting to address those, but in your handout there, you'll see basically a record of what those complaints entailed and then what their actions were involved in that. So. And then in regards to code enforcement, so I've been working with the chief and getting the job description identified with that. We did determine that, and then that job is posted with TML, so it is a posted position now, so. The next item is we did get numbers back on our insurance. We've been working with a new insurance provider. There was significant savings in healthcare cost. With that, we were able to develop a defined contribution plan. Schulenburg has a plan like that, and what that does, that creates greater flexibility with each individual employee. So we have 3 different base plans that we provide now. The carrier was Cigna, and then an employee is able to go in there and pick and choose some different benefits that actually is more tailored to each individual employee. So we're excited about where our plan is and what it's able to provide for the employees. And then we start.
What does that savings look like for over the next year?
Well, overall, there's not a savings because we kept it in the plan, and what they're able to do, an employee is able to basically allocate money defined based on some of those needs. So there's 3 different plans. So if between the lowest end, so each employee is allocated the $1,200, which is where we were at already. So the base plan goes down to, it was $600 to $700, depending on what's picked and choose. So it actually allowed them to pick up dependent coverage and contribute to that. 2 of the options allows them to add a flex plan, right? And 1 option allows them to do a HSA plan. So it just gives more options and flexibilities that, based on individual needs. It's hard to have 1 plan that suits everybody. For the same amount of money, total all. So, yeah. So an employee is allowed to use up to that threshold, and that's the defined contribution part. So not all employees will utilize all of that, but they have up to that amount to use and tailor to their needs. So we're pretty excited about what that's a big victory from an employee benefit standpoint. So we were very pleased with where we ended up with that. We do have an update on a project that has kind of been in the works for about 6 months now. So we had a resident come in and express concerns that was basically a small feud between families. So Dolores, would you like to tell them about Mrs. Townsend?
Okay, Mrs. Townsend had a house built under the home program in 2016. And when they ran her water to her house, they used the existing pipes that were from across family property. But since then, family property has been sold off to where the person that bought the land now needed her water line moved, so it wouldn't be a problem. So she had paid for a tap probably about a year ago, and she never had the money to pay for the line to her house, which, wasn't it about 400 feet from the road?
Yeah,
I think it was something like that.
Yeah.
And so we worked with the Habitat for Humanity to get them to help her to get pay for a plumber to get that line laid for her. So she can have her own water line now. Because her house is set quite a way back off the road. But, so we were glad we were successful with that.
Thanks to Habitat.
It was a really great accomplishment, staff time. Dolores put a lot of time into that, working with different contractors and stuff, so it was a great team effort. That was a huge victory for Mrs. Townsend. I actually forgot an item. I'd like to go back to Safe Built. So also in your handouts, you saw council at the last meeting and asked for the fee schedule based on where we were. So you actually see what our fee schedule is for Safe Built. And then the other page with that is you see a comparison between what the city's fee is compared to what Safe Built charges us. And then there shows a comparison with area cities around us, and it kind of shows you what the permit comparison is. So there's that information as well, so.
Pretty significantly less.
It is, yeah.
And the people have been satisfied, have had these encounters with Safe Built.
Yeah, for the most part, I mean, we're still working through, there's still a few hiccups and stuff that we're working through, but it's, like anything, new things and implementation, there's some periods to get through, so.
We just gotta plan ahead.
Right. Yeah.
You can't do it that evening and go for a permit in the morning.
That morning for the evening.
The nemesis of all man.
I know for one thing, there was some stuff that we actually had on the website, but it wasn't quite as user-friendly as what we initially thought, but just working through the process and stuff, you know, we're learning some of the stuff, making some adjustments and stuff like that.
Richard, on the back of this, is that comparison on the salaries?
Yeah, that's based on a standard salary range, so if we were to have those positions individually, that's what that would look like, you know, so it's showing by, you know, basically whether you, with Safe Built by using them versus if we had those positions individually in-house, what that difference would be.
So that third one, that building official, is that code enforcement and inspector, the full combo inspector?
No, so the code enforcement is just a standalone code enforcement officer. It is not a combo code enforcement inspector.
They're separate positions on this.
Yeah, the inspector salary is the next one down, so just a standalone inspector. That's about the salary that you would be looking at for them. And then the building official, that's more of the top of the line code official. So, he's basically over all inspections. So really, for what we would have here, that would be more likely the position, because we would need a position for somebody who can actually do all of those inspections. So you would be looking at that higher end salary for that to get somebody that's fully credentialed. Any questions? All right, the next item, council, I'd like to bring to your attention is, I don't know if you've noticed, but in front of the gazebo and the post office, it's, the Master Garden Club has worked hard, and, they've, beautified in front of that. They've planted some new, I guess, flowers and, cleaned out those areas and stuff, and it looks really good, so they did a great job. We want to shout out to them. We're also going to put some notifications in the paper, you know, thanking them for that and recognizing them for the work that they put into that. So they've done an incredible job with that, so. And then the next item is in your package, you start to see a little bit of difference in your agendas, but starting next month, we're going to add agenda memos to those. So before each agenda item, you'll actually see a memo section that'll just basically summarize, give you a little bit of backstory, what that item is, and just basically summarize that into a single, may not always be a single sheet, but it'll basically summarize what that item is to, and we'll continue to get these out by the end of the day on Friday before council meeting.
That was appreciated.
And that's all I have, Mayor.
Council, anything for Richard? Okay, we'll move to agenda item number 4, citizens' presentation and comments. In accordance with the Texas Attorney General's opinion, any public comment that is made on an item that is not on the posted final agenda will only be heard by the city council. No formal action, discussion, deliberation, or comment will be made by city council, and the limited to 3-minute time period to do your comments. And let's see, we have 2 folks that have signed up to speak. One is an agenda item. The other one is under citizens' presentation and comments. Mr. Jones, if you'll step forward and introduce yourself.
I'm
And,
Randall Jones. I'm here to compliment the crew, Derek and Trent and Alex. They did a hell of a job. And they moved 7,200 volt lines in the dark across poles, live. Generally, you have a contractor come and do that. They busted their rears out there at night to do that and made it happen. So hats off to them. And they came back the next day and cleaned up and did another outstanding job. The other thing on Carlton with you, there is, the reason I know some of these things is because of my employees telling me what's going on with the immigrants and what's going on in town. Driving their trailer park is a big issue. And a lot of theft going on, 6 families living in one trailer. You've got multiple families living in houses here now, 2 of them that I know of specifically. The Hernandez house, I believe, and then there's a yellow house on the other side of the MG's. So there is some major issues there, just to say what you said. Number 2, on item 23, make sure the petition, it represents the city of Weimar people, the voters. Okay? If it's a petition you have accepted, then it's done correctly, then you have to accept it. Gentlemen, this could lead to a tax on 10 cents of every $100. That's what all that's about. Come fire departments and et cetera. So be really careful with that. And 2, if it does pass through the county, the city owns the fire department, the city owns some of the fire trucks, this unit should pay for that equipment back to the city. So be careful of this. I don't think we're big enough to have this currently now. If you go to other counties and look at it, some of them work well, some of them don't work well. But you got 2 fire departments pushing it. One fire department just built a $2 million firehouse, and they're pushing to get this done, and it's controlled by 4 people. So you just need to watch out for that kind of. That's all I got.
Anyone else that maybe did not sign up wish to speak? Okay. We'll move to agenda item number 5, proclamation recognizing National Parents as Teachers Day on November 8th, 2024, and the Parents as Teachers of Schulenburg, Weimar area. Proclamation, whereas the award-winning program Parents as Teachers is a school and family partnership designed to give children the best possible start in life. The program supports parents in their roles as their child's first and most influential teacher. Whereas serving a full range of families from diverse ethnic and socioeconomic backgrounds, Parents as Teachers has grown to include programs in all 50 states and 6 counties, over 40 states, and in Texas, serving communities of over 38 counties and approximately 10,000 children annually. Whereas first established in Texas in 1986 by the Mental Health Association in Texas, the Parents as Teachers program includes personal home visits, group connections, development screenings, and community resources information. And whereas Parents as Teachers of rural South Central Texas has served over 852 families with 1,305 children since 2002. And whereas education is a priority in Texas, and the Parents as Teachers program is an excellent example of providing a parent education, family support, and school readiness home visitation program. Now therefore it be resolved that the cities of Schulenburg and Weimar, Texas hereby commend educators, families, and volunteers of Parents as Teachers, rural South Texas, South Central Texas, and applaud their commitment and contributions to families so children will learn, grow, and develop to realize their full potential. And it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be prepared as an expression of esteem from the cities of Schulenburg and Weimar. I have already signed one for the folks here in Weimar, and I think they probably had it posted already, but I just wanted to make this as information and also being on the record. We'll move to agenda item number 6, proclamation declaring Saturday, November 30th, 2024 as Small Business Saturday. Small Business Saturday, Saturday, November 30th, 2024, whereas small businesses are the backbone of our economy and the glue that holds communities together. And whereas the city of Weimar, Texas celebrates our local small businesses and the contribution they make to our local economy and community. Whereas the city of Weimar, Texas supports the efforts of local small businesses and recognizes the critical role they play in our community. And whereas Small Business Saturday is a nationwide campaign to cultivate business for small merchants on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And whereas Small Business Saturday will stimulate economic growth locally for small merchants by following in the tradition of Black Friday and Cyber Monday, 2 of the busiest shopping days of the year. And whereas we recognize citizens to consider shopping local merchants on Small Business Saturday as a way to boost the local economy and strengthen our small business community. Now, therefore, I, Milton Colder, Mayor, on behalf of the City Council of the Weimar, Texas, and the State of Texas, do hereby proclaim Saturday, November 30th, 2024, as Small Business Saturday in Weimar, Texas, and encourage all citizens to join us in this worthy observance and to support small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturday and throughout the year. We'll move to agenda item number 7, approval of the minutes of the October 17th regular council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from a motion from Roberts, a second from Tucker. Any changes or discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 8, report on financial statements. Mr. Mason?
Mayor, Council, I placed before you a letter from the auditors. There's 3 questions you just need to review, and then not a question, but you can check if you want to request to meet with the auditors, and then you just sign and date it, and I'll let those after the meeting. And it's something we do every year. And then I also placed in front of you the quarterly report, quarterly financial report. And this is for the fourth quarter 2024. Page 15
page 20, we paid for more chlorine. I haven't gotten any calls lately on chlorine, so that's good.
Maybe the squirrels are swimming in the pool.
Probably drinking it.
Yeah, they also use that for, the water system. We're continuously working on the water system itself, so,
It's a work in progress.
So I guess the pool is being maintained through this winter. I mean,
yes.
water's looking good.
Don't have to worry about freezing.
Well, no, but
Tucker, you good? Okay. Okay, David, anything else you want to bring to their attention?
That's all.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item number 9, approval of accounts payable and transfer of funds.
So moved.
Second?
A motion from Ulrich and a second from Tucker. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 10, discussion and approval of changing of December 12th council meeting to 2 p.m. due to Down Home Christmas event.
So moved.
Second.
A motion from Tucker, second from Ulrich. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 11, discussion and approval of closing the 100th block of East Post Office Street and the 100th block of North Mechanic Street for Down Home Christmas Parade scheduled for December 12th.
Hi, good evening,
Introduce
everybody.
yourself.
So I think the parade route is very similar to what we had last year, so it'll start at the junior high. The parade starts at 6 p.m. It'll go down West Post Office Street to East Post Office Street, turn on Mechanic, and then go up 90. And this year, it's gonna end at the gazebo. And then it'll break up from there, so we're requesting that we close that route, at 5 p.m. So an hour before the parade, so they can get everything blocked off.
So moved.
Second?
A motion from Scardino, second from Tucker. Any conversation, discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Number 12, discussion and approval of closing South Center Street from the railroad to Market Street for vendors and food at City Pavilion from 5 to 9 p.m. for the Down Home Christmas event.
So this year, we're adding vendors and food trucks to Down Home Christmas. The event actually is from 5 to 9, so I'm requesting that we close that section of the road from 4 to 10, so we have enough time to set out fire pits. We're gonna have Santa in the gazebo this year instead of City Hall. Since the garden club does it up nice, makes sense to put Santa there and get nice pictures. We're gonna bring in somebody to play Christmas music and have vendors set up under the pavilion, and then food trucks on Center Street.
So moved.
That's awesome.
Second.
Have a motion from Tucker, a second from Scardino. Any additional discussion?
You're doing a really good job.
Thank you, thank you.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
And thank you for the second chop. It was another hickey for you, yes.
Yeah.
Agenda item number 13, public hearing on the Water Conservation Plan and Drought Contingency Plan Dolores, I have 6:12 of when we're going into a public hearing. Anyone wish to speak on the,
Yes?
Would y'all like me to give a summary or anything like that, Mr. Whit? you wanna
Yes,
lead
please,
into-
Mayor, Council, this is Bradley from BEFCO. He's the one who's been working diligently on this plan and with the Texas Water Development Board grant that we applied for. So he is pushing all of our stuff behind this and getting it posted like it's supposed to be. So he's constantly on us, so.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council, and thanks for having me. Before I jump into that, I want to say thanks for the small business resolution. I guess when I was back in college 30 years ago, I never knew what small business was going to be like, and you need the support of the community, and it's wonderful having you guys as a client. Thanks for your support in the past. But jumping to the water conservation and drought contingency plan, basically this is some of the P's and Q's that we need to borrow some money from the Texas Water Development Board is really the impetus at this. You actually have adopted a plan back in 2019, and for a water system your size, basically, for the number of constituents you serve, you need to relook at it every 5 years, give or take, and either revisit or adopt what you had before. So the timing actually worked out pretty good on that as well. But the big goals, obviously, of our water conservation plan, as I worked with the city staff on it, the big thing, and I know y'all are going to be aware of some of these things, but just basically the goals that I would like to see the city accomplish would be improve our water accounting and our record keeping. And that's basically, you keep track of what your water produced, what's coming out of the wells. There's water going into your system and it comes through the meters. You're going to have water loss along the way from water leaks that Mr. Schwenke and his crew fix. You're going to have some, the biggest elephant in the room, as y'all all know, is flushing to improve the water quality, the flushing there. And then, but there's also, at other times, we can keep track of actually accounted water loss, and the leaks and stuff, once again, are something you can estimate. There's no exact science. When the fire department has to fight a fire, or maybe they do for their training and those kind of things, that we can get a quasi-record keeping process going that, once again, that can be reported on a monthly basis, and then it gets kept up on a yearly basis, so to speak. Because ultimately, what this is going to lead to is, right now, Water Development Board requires, as part of their water, statewide regional water plans, those kind of things, is you have an annual water use survey. Now you're going to start having to keep track of water loss surveys and those kind of things. So this accounting that I'm alluding to will help prepare your operator for that annual requirement for that as well. So record keeping and accounting. I had basically got some flushing records over the last 3 to 5 years, give or take. Basically, our flushing in the years we did have some data, we've been averaging about 1.5 million gallons a year of water flushed. And that's the actual water that's been accounted for, so to speak, that the guys are taking record keeping. You have a good form for that. It just, at times, it's overwhelming, I think, when I follow the records, I can see that sometimes it's late at night, sometimes it's 10, 20 spots a day, seems like, and it's hard to keep that many records for that many times with that. So the goal there would go from a water flushing of 1.5 million gallons per year down to less than 1 million gallons a year. Obviously, we want more than that, but let's be realistic about it. Those kind of things. Another goal is that basically during this time period, the average overall water usage for the whole system, that's residential, commercial, whole thing, is about 163 gallons per capita per day, so per person, not per connection. And we basically over the next 5 to 10 years want to reduce that 5 to 10%, 5% in 2029 and 10% by 2034. And the last goal that the plan identifies is to reduce our water loss. Presently, as I mentioned, for the last 3 to 5 years, give or take, our water loss has been at 14%. So basically, for every 100 gallons you produce, the loss is at 14 gallons. And basically, over the next 10 years, we'll look at
taking baby steps to bring this down a percentage per year, by 2034, 12%. Hopefully we can do better than that, but once again, being realistic. And then the overall goal ultimately is to get, basically a rule of thumb in the water industries, that I've seen over the years is 10% is at times is a realistic goal of where we want to get to from 14 down to 10. So how are we going to achieve those goals? The big thing, I think, once again, full and consistent staffing, I think would really help. Keep track of those troublesome areas. Mr. Schwenk and his crew, if there's, what I heard in his report earlier, we had three leaks on 2-inch lines. Recommendation is not to install any more 2-inch lines. No, that's just a joke. But at the end of the day, if there's a problemsome section in town, that kind of thing, just to keep some logs of that. And so when the budgeting time comes around, those troublesome sections can be budgeted into your capital improvement program or your regular budgeting, those kind of things. Like to introduce some monthly water loss tracking so we can monitor that water loss. Improve our water quality, which is once again the goal of this project. And also check some water quality in the system. I noticed on the records they keep track of residuals and those kind of things, which are good. We can tell if we're getting fresh water to the end of the lines where they're flushing and those kind of things. Another thing is going to be on the water accounting side is actually monitoring what's going through the residential and commercial industrial meters more accurately. Another goal of this project is to install the newest, latest, and greatest technology for the meters that the water is being measured by. The accuracy of when those meters are read, because it's going to be either what's called an AMR, where they're going to drive out of the vehicle and pick up water meter readings, or it's going to be an AMI, where actually all the water meter readings are going to be reported to the warehouse or city hall and those kind of things. So it's no longer what day are we reading meters this month, and we're reading on the 28th through the 30th, and next month might hit a Saturday or Sunday, so we're moving it up to the 27th or 28th. So there's some consistency that can be made there. And also from the accounting side, that hopefully will realize some income to pay for improvements and staffing and those kind of things. The master meter calibrations at your wells, just a change out program, keep track of the volumetric usage there. And look at your rates every year. Continue your conservative water rate structure, which basically is the more water you use, the more you pay. And then the last thing is that when the opportunity at public education, whether that's through your Lions, Rotary, those type clubs, community meetings, schools, those kind of things. So public education on how to conserve water as well. Jumping over the drought contingency plan, basically we've set up a plan for 5 different triggers: mild, moderate, severe, critical, and emergency, with different triggering conditions. And basically the emergency that just triggers anything if we lose something major in the system or some type of a natural or man-made contamination. All the other ones are based upon a usage criteria or certain level in your tanks. And once again, that's what our drought contingency for. So in reality, your drought contingency plan is part of your water conservation plan. You're adopting 2 plans today, water conservation plan and drought contingency, but drought contingency is realistically a part of the water conservation plan. So once again, requirement of the Water Development Board to borrow some money, but also being good stewards of our water to try to conserve it as best we can. So with that, I know there was a printout of the, hopefully that was a big part of your packet, but, so there's not a lot after me, so to speak. But what we provided are both plans, and then for staff to use, there's a 1-page summary of the drought contingency plan that shows basically where you can water on certain sides of 90 when we meet that certain trigger condition. And that, which was where the old plan was written, was 90 was the red dividing line. We used some things from the old plan, some things from the new templates. That's the TCEQ and those agencies provide. And so that's the purpose of our presentation today for drought contingency and water conservation and their associated adoption into the code of ordinances. So, any questions or comments or anything else? Mr. Witten or Mr. Loris, anything to add to that?
It's very thorough.
That's why I say it's a template and a little bit of experience to go with it, but mainly the template.
Now, Bradley's done incredible work. We have lots of room for improvement on our part, and it would make his job easier. So, but he's done a great job for us in putting this together and keeping us on our toes, so thank you for that, Brad.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else, public hearing, wish to speak or have questions? Okay, I will close the public hearing at 6:23.
Man, almost got 10 minutes. Sorry, guys.
Get your money's worth. Move to agenda item number 14, discussion and approval of ordinance adopting the water conservation plan and drought contingency plan.
Get a motion on each one,
Okay, I will, okay.
or unless you do both of them.
Okay.
There's two different
So let's do the water conservation plan first.
I'll make a motion, we approve adopting the water conservation plan.
Second.
I have a motion from Roberts, a second from Tucker. Unless you need any additional discussion? Okay, because it's a pretty big item, I'll go around individually.
Yes.
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 Okay, unanimous, okay.
Make a motion to approve the drought contingency plan.
I have a motion and from Tucker, Scardino, second the motion. Any additional discussion? Okay, we'll take a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, unanimous vote, okay.
Thank you, council. You'll have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
You, Brad.
Thank you,
We'll get
Bradley.
this submitted on to the appropriate folks.
Thank you, Brad.
Question before you leave, Mr. Lair? You still have your crackers?
Tonight I do.
Just in case we lasted too long, you brought dinner.
Yeah. Yeah. That was stretching me last
Yes,
time.
sir.
But it's part of it, I know sometimes, so
Well, fair.
appreciate the humor.
No executive session tonight, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Bradley.
Agenda item number 15, discussion and action on RISE broadband fiber agreement.
Mayor, council, so Rise Broadband has approached us with interest in installing fiber optics through our city. So tonight with us is Stanley Russell with Rise to talk about their proposal.
Absolutely. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Stanley Russell from New Braunfels, actually, but came over tonight to discuss our plans to build out your city. Rise Broadband's been in the industry for many, many years. They were the #1 WISP in the nation for the past 13 years. They built their back on the small community. And about 2 years ago, they decided that they were going to get into fiber optic and start building out small communities. And we've really taken an interest in and started building out the towns around and in Texas. So right now, what our intention is and our plan is to come through and build fiber optic through your community. I've been working with your city manager and your city attorney to get our right-of-way agreement through them so that everything will be prepared and ready for you to review tonight, hopefully approve. They've both reviewed it and everything is copacetic as far as they are concerned. So what I would like to do is just realistically answer any questions that you may have concerning what our intent is and what our plans are.
So Stanley, the first question is 100% of this is going to be underground. There will be no pole attachments in this project, correct?
That's correct. Not only that, but unlike a lot of providers, so we're essentially Comcast, of that nature. That is what we do. And so the only area where you will actually have anything that is above ground will be at our main hub site, and that will be a cam that's about that big, about that wide. Other than that, everything that you normally see in front of customers' homes where you see the pedestals and everything where the technicians access the fiber optics, all of that is flush mount. So it's all flush with the ground. So you won't even see that at the customer's homes.
So this is gonna be like, the residential, it's a wireless connection to the residents?
This will be fiber optics to the residents, so
Fiber.
we'll be offering 1 gig service to the residents of your community.
Is this something change, cause I have Rise Man.
This is-
I wouldn't go with anybody else, but I already have it, but is that something that's changing?
We will still be continuing to offer our wireless, what we offer now. We will continue to be offering that, but this is an addition to. So, right now, what we're offering is a wireless signal. So it's point to point, it's line of sight. So as you know, having our product, when you have weather, when you have different things, it can slow your internet speed down. When you have our fiber product, you will not have that problem because it is a direct line into your home. You'll have continuous high speed. Right now, you're probably getting about 250 meg, which is great. Don't get me wrong, 250 meg is a good service. But what we've noticed is that small towns are shrinking. It's hard to retain your youth because they have to go somewhere else to get the jobs. With the way that the country is shifting to work from home, there is a great potential to keep those youth in your hometown, to keep them where they want to live, to keep them where property is cheaper and they know everyone. But you have to be able to offer them an option to be able to do the work that they want to do, and this will give them the option to work from home. It'll give your schools better internet access. It'll give your police department better internet access. This will provide a better product for everyone.
What is y'all's residential service cost on that 1 gig?
Depends on the area, just like with anything else. Now, I can't tell you exactly what it will cost because it's all based on market analysis, but it is very competitively priced. That I can guarantee you. I wish we had it in my community because right now I'm with AT&T and I'd switch in a heartbeat because I know that we're cheaper. But once again, it's based on market analysis. I don't want to give you a price and then it comes in $10 higher because then, I'm a project manager at heart. I'm going to give you worst case scenario and hope for the best, hope that I can prove myself wrong, so I'm not going to give you a price.
It's basically an internet service to the residents.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, residents, small businesses, pretty much it'll be an internet service to anyone in the community that wants it.
I know what you're talking about with AT&T. I'm with you. When will this come about?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you guys, I've been in this industry for 30 years. I just recently joined Rise Broadband. I've been doing this a long time, and I'm pretty good at my job. I can go to work pretty much for any of the companies that I wanted to. And I've worked for most of them at one point in time. I worked with Rise Broadband because I firmly believe in what they are doing. I really believe in what they're doing and what they're trying to accomplish. I truly believe in it 100%. I can't say that enough. Now, I notice your public works manager's here, and he's honestly right now sweating bullets because he knows that we're going to come in here and start digging up. And this isn't a question you've asked, but I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. Yes, we're going to be digging up, and we're going to be boring through your town. And yes, there's a possibility that we may hit your utilities. The state of Texas, just the state of Texas, there's an average of 123 utility hits a day, okay? Rise takes this very seriously. We're going to stand behind what we do. We have gone so far as to do something that I've never seen a company do, which is we bought ground penetrating radar just so we can actually go out and locate utilities that aren't locatable. So now, if you got any clay pipe in the ground, we've got a problem, especially if they're shallow. But we're going to stand behind our product. We're going to stand behind the company. We're going to stand behind we're going to stand behind your town. And another thing that Rise does that a lot of companies don't is we're not one and gone. We're not going to come in and we're not going to build it out and we're going to leave and you're never going to see us again. We're going to get involved in the community. We're going to be a part of your Chamber of Commerce. We're going to be here for the parades that you're having. We're going to have booths out. We're actually going to be engaged in the community because we want to be a part of the communities that we're in because that's just good business. And we want to be here for the long time.
So will y'all bore everywhere?
Yes.
Or just when?
Yes, we do, when we're out in the middle of the country, we may do some open trench work, but when we're in town, no, it's all bore work. Where everything will be, we may use a missile occasionally, but for predominantly, it'll all be bore work.
But we would have 100% coverage through Weimer.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, absolutely. Yeah, we would be, we're building out the entire city. So we're going to come in, and when we get done, every customer in town that wants high-speed internet to their home and wants to stream more than one device at a time will have that ability. Anyone who wants to, I haven't paid for a cable provider in years because everything's streaming now. Yes,
That
you'll
was
be
the
able to
next
do that.
question I had, was services streaming as well.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So if the council were to approve this, then can you talk to us about the timeline on the project, about how quick you get started, how long it takes?
We've been holding on this one for a while. I mean, you and I talked, 3 months ago?
Yes.
So, we've been holding on this one for a while, and this is the type of company that I work for, okay? Could we come in here and say, and strong arm you? Yes, we are a recognized utility provider in the state of Texas. We could come in and say, hey, we're coming, and have a nice day. That's not how we do business. We want to work with you. That's why 3 months ago, we started this process, and we're still 3 months down the road and haven't put a shovel in the ground.
Yeah, and just so council's aware, the delay is on my part, not on their
Oh,
part.
no, no,
So they
no,
were
there's-
ready to go, but it was just me. That was unfortunately a ball I kept dropping, so.
So
There is no,
So the scope of this
They seeked
boring
us,
is,
yes.
like, if Kurt wants it, it's coming to his, I mean, it just depends on who.
I'm sorry, sir. I just couldn't hear you for that train. Too many bombs. So,
So how extensive your boring will be determined by who all signs up for it?
No. It's everywhere.
It's in one
It's
of
everywhere. If you want our service, great. If you don't, great. If you move out and somebody else moves in, it's
So
out in front of your
we're
house.
going down every street, every,
Yes, sir.
So it's there if you want it,
Yes, sir.
but it will be there.
Yes, sir.
How do you get, so if y'all are, I'm guessing, boring the utility easement along the curb? So if I call on service, you report from there to the house?
Yeah,
Everything-
hand trenches, because usually that'd be from the pedestal to your house, it's usually a hand
No
trench.
cost.
So, go ahead.
Is the city getting any money off of this? Or-
So there are no longer franchise agreements. The franchise agreements went away a long time ago, especially in the state of Texas. But the state of Texas does offer you, we pay the state of Texas pays you for every subscriber that we have. So for every subscriber that we have inside your town, we pay the state. And then the state pays you guys. That's how franchise agreements work now. Now, we offer free internet. I don't remember what the exact amount is. I think it's like 10 free internet accounts that we will provide to the city. But that's above and beyond. That's just something that we do. But as far as franchise agreements and us
take
paying you
I'll take
directly,
the free.
that no longer happens.
Is there any fees that go to the city for I guess, allowing y'all to come in and put this in or anything?
No,
Okay.
no. That's all through the franchise with the state.
Gotcha.
You have any idea, is that what's happening up and down all these county roads?
Probably. Good
Like
possibility.
we're installing fiber optics.
Yeah.
Good possibility. We're all over, down here. We're
They're boring everywhere out there.
we're putting in a lot of fiber. It's all self-funded. It's all because we saw, and don't get me wrong, I mean, a business is in business to make money. At the end of the day, there is a profit to be made, otherwise we wouldn't do it.
Absolutely.
But we're doing it and no one else is because we saw the need.
And just to be clear, there's no cost on our part
No.
for y'all to come in
The only,
here.
and I am 100%, you will find, as you work with me, you will find that I try and tell you the worst case so that you're prepared for it. Yes, there will be costs on your part. You're gonna have to pay your utility guys to locate when we call in locates. So you're going to have guys out in the field. Your guys are gonna be out there doing the locates to locate your utilities so that we don't hit them. So yes, there will be costs.
It saves us at the end.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But as far as anything that you guys have to, no, this is 100% us.
So if our guys go out and mark a line and you hit it,
We pay for it.
okay, because I was thinking y'all use the ground,
We use the ground penetrating radar. We utilize the ground penetrating radar because we found as we've been going through a lot of small towns, that there are no accurate records, and utilities are normally not located very well. So through trial and error, we've gone out and purchased 2 ground penetrating radars. Now, if you locate it and we come out and the locate was off, you know, I mean, we got a 10-foot on a locate. So, you know, if it was off by half a block and we hit it, even though we're using our ground penetrating radar, that's going to be at the city. You know, it's going to be, the fault was not on us. But if we hit it and we were responsible for it, oh yeah, we'll fix it. Not only will we fix it, even if it's not our fault, we're going to do everything in our power to ensure that it gets corrected and it gets corrected quickly. So, you know, we're not, you know, I just did I just got through, City of Yoakum, just got through meeting with them, and we're meeting with them. We have our construction manager meeting with them weekly while we're working through the beginning phases to say, okay, this is where we're going to be, this is where we're going to be working, this is what we're going to be doing. You know, we're willing to do what it needs to be done to make sure that this is an easy transition for everyone.
If this is approved tonight, when will we see activity?
I'll reach out to Mr. Whitten and let you know, because what I have to do is I have to go back and work with my construction manager to get crews out here, very rapidly. Like I said, we've been holding on this one for a while, so we're anxious to get this one built out. You know, you have a lot of interdependencies when it comes to fiber, so, you know, you can't build this one, but you can't build the middle one. You gotta have that through path. So I will have to go back and work with him and see where we're at on getting this one started, but I would say that this year. I would guess this year.
How long before y'all start to do all?
Couple months. Yeah, couple months. It goes very rapidly. Construction's gonna tell you 4 weeks. I'm gonna tell you a couple months. So, you know, it goes fast, but it also depends on how many drills we can get in the ground, how many days we lose for Thanksgiving, because we're not gonna work around the holidays, how many days we're gonna lose around Christmas, you know, things of that nature. You know, you got a parade going on. We're not gonna be in here tearing up streets and stuff. You know, if you guys have, you know, we're not gonna have crews in here working around your parades and things. That's not good business for anybody. You know, you throw, you know, for the city, you're like, oh, well, you know, they're gonna be tearing up streets. For us, we're like, well, we're gonna be making future customers mad. We're not about that. So.
You're not new to Weimer. You had your equipment on our tower for several years now.
Yes.
They've done a great job of maintaining it, working with us when we had to paint the tower. We have 5 free connections because you have your equipment on our tower, so.
You have one of those free connections?
No.
Yeah, you did.
The library.
We get 10, remember?
We'll be checking that out later, David.
There's 5 public buildings here in Weimer that have it. But yeah, no, you've done a great job in the past.
Well, the nice thing is that those free accounts will be upgraded to fiber. So you know, that's going to be, you know, it's going to be a massive change from what you're used to. You know, compare a garden hose to a fire hose, and that's the difference.
And one of those is our city's backup internet. In case our router fails, that'll be our backup.
So if someone goes and submits an 811 ticket after all this is completed.
We'll come out and locate it.
Y'all come out and locate it? Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
Yep. Yeah, we're responsible for anything we put in. I mean, we're putting in the right of way, but at the end of the day, we're responsible for any equipment that we install and equipment we put in.
Perfect.
How deep is it when y'all are boring?
5 to 7 feet. It's shallower than your main utilities. So we should never be at the same, actually 4 feet. We should never be at the same level as water or sewer or anything of that nature. You know, and that's actually a federal law. Everything has a space that it lives in, so that's our space.
A couple of comments and maybe a question.
Yes, sir.
First of all, thank you, because you're right in lines with the plans of our economic growth in Weimer. So that's a huge part of us being prepared for the growth that's coming here and us to be able to provide them with service that will maybe attract them a little quicker. Question, are you squirrel proof?
Okay.
If it's
So-
underground.
So you must have saw me laugh when you were asking him about squirrels.
We're worked up about squirrels.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you the honest answer that he didn't give you. No, there ain't nothing in this world squirrel-proof, okay? I promise you, nothing is squirrel-proof.
Well, there we go. There it is.
Well,
Eric, you don't have to look.
I've been doing this a long time. It ain't gonna happen.
we thank you for your comment that if you might hit something that would cause our electricity to go out, so we now have another excuse.
Oh, well, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it will not-
Yeah,
it won't
but
be
I'm
squirrel.
only gonna be here for a few days. I mean,
Guys, broadband.
yeah,
Rise did it. And then we have armadillos that we may blame it on now since you're digging.
yeah, yeah. So, no, it is a, you know, it's honestly, it's a great product. It's a great company. And we want to partner with the city. We want to be a player in the community.
Appreciate you being a part of us, because obviously that's a partnership that I feel the community will embrace.
Yeah.
And the new folks that will be moving here, be it residents or companies.
Yeah,
Gotta
absolutely.
be prepared for them.
Absolutely.
Well, I can tell you, I know I hear everybody's internet's out, and I'm going like, I have the internet, why does everybody's internet out? I guess I'm the only one with Verizon band in Weimar, I don't know.
Well, it's a
I
problem
would,
with
I would
schools.
not leave them. I've had them for years, I would not leave them.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. That's great testimony.
Everybody good?
With that, if
Okay.
someone hits a fiber, will it knock out the entire town, or just?
No. No, we're still working on our redundancy ring. So, what a redundancy ring is it is exactly what it says. I mean, it's in the name. But right now, we have about half of that ring closed, so we have one path down, but we only got the other path about halfway down. So once that path is closed, we'll have full redundancy. So if somebody chopped this line over here, this line over here would pick up the traffic and you would still continue to have service. Right now, we're about halfway done with that. We've got most of Texas closed. We're working on closing the rest of that loop. If somebody hit the main fiber at the main terminal up next to your water tower, would that knock the town out? Yes, it would. The entire town would go down. If somebody hit the fiber in front of your neighbor's house, no. You might lose a block, you might lose a street, but you would not lose the entire town.
How long would it take to restore that if somebody did?
Our normal was sort of, we call some out that night. Yeah, that's an immediate roll of a truck, so, you
Because
know.
we've gone days before.
If it's
some of
one,
our internet.
if it's one house, probably the next day, maybe two, because, you know, that's gonna roll into a normal trouble call. If you got a street out, somebody will be out that night, somebody will be working on that night.
So that would be a welcome change.
Anyone else?
So I have two questions. On the locates and all that, do you keep in touch, I guess, with Derek, and you'd say, hey, we're starting in this area, and you kind of give them enough time to locate everything? Because what I'd be worried about is if it's not located and they start hitting all the utilities, and that could really cost.
Well,
We're part of 811.
Okay.
We'll get notification
Okay.
once they call.
Yeah, because I deal with 811s all the time, and it's, you know, you call, 2 weeks down the road, it's not located. So no, it won't be for our situation, but what I'd be worried is if they're doing one side of town, and then we're, you know, I'm pretty sure in your 811 tickets, you're gonna break it into each, I guess, quadrant. You're not gonna do the whole town right off the bat.
No, we don't. We section it out.
Gotcha.
But what we will be doing is once this is approved and we get ready to start, our construction, we'll do a pre-con. So we'll do a pre-construction meeting. We'll ask your, Director of Public Utilities to come. We'll sit down with our construction manager and we'll discuss through the logistics of it. We'll talk about concerns that he may have because he's gonna have more insight into trouble areas than we're going to. So we'll have all of those discussions prior to even putting a shovel in the ground. We'll also share contact information. Any questions or concerns, call. And that will go both ways. That way we can work together through this process.
Perfect. And then I guess, Derek, for a question for you, I guess we do have personnel that are good with those line locators and everything? Is that right? Okay, good deal. Okay, that's all I got.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you,
Motion to
Mr.
approve the Rise Broadband Fiber Agreement.
Have a motion from Tucker, a second from Scardino. Any additional discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you,
Mr.
gentlemen.
Russell.
Thank you,
Thank
Stanley.
you.
Mr. Wood, I'll be talking to you.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
No, we'll be talking.
Agenda item number 16, discussion and action, authorizing city manager to purchase electric bucket truck as budgeted up to $228,900
Mayor, council, so this was a budgeted item that we'd planned in the budget. It's actually, I believe, a little bit over what we actually budgeted, so, but the numbers came in a little bit higher than what we anticipated. But this is a stock unit, so the availability of this is pretty quickly. And the global, this is through our, one of our purchasing cooperations. So they already do meet the Texas bidding requirements.
What amount did we budget?
Do you have?
David?
I think it was 220, but yeah, I think it was 220. So
But this is electric department bucket truck, right?
correct, yes. So this is the bigger piece to this is it's a larger truck. It's a 55-foot boom, which right now our mini bucket truck is a 40-foot boom. So it really limits the guy's ability to get in, and oftentimes repairs they're making, they actually need 2 bucket trucks. So not having the one that we've had to be able to be the primary or the big heavy-duty bucket truck has really hampered us. So having this also will actually minimize some of the contractor call-outs that we've had to do just simply because of the being without that bigger bucket truck.
We've been talking about this for a while.
Yes, sir.
What did you say, how much we had budgeted?
I believe it's 220.
Did they send me a trade-in on our old bucket truck? I double checked, they're looking into that. So still maybe not some trade-in or other bucket trucks or sell it.
Well, and that's our first choice is that they do offer the trade-ins. We will trade it in first, but then if they won't, then we will just auction it off. And then like previously, any monies we get from that would go back into our vehicle and equipment replacement fund.
So this is the amount that the vehicle will cost, correct?
Correct.
And it was not budgeted for that total amount, so are we needing to amend the budget?
We would go back and amend that, so we'd bring that back next month, so, but
Because right now you haven't
We have
traded
to.
in or sold, so this is over what
And
you
then the sale or trade-in on the other vehicle will offset that also.
yes.
hadn't happened yet, so that's what I'm saying. I think we would have to amend the budget because that's not what was budgeted.
Correct.
Comes out.
Motion to authorize the city manager to purchase electric bucket truck as budgeted up to $228,050.
Second.
I have a motion from Tucker, second from Christian. Any additional discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 17, discussion and action authorizing city manager to purchase radios for the police department and budgeted up to $212,500.
Good evening again. I didn't know whether the city manager was gonna cover it or if I would, so I just walked up, but I can answer any questions. You have the, kind of a memo that the city manager was kinda talking about. It's, kind of a primitive version of it, but, it puts on that we had budgeted $212,500, for radios. Our current radios I have 11 years old, but, I've been corrected. They're probably more like 13 years or more old, and they're beginning to fail. We really should be on a replacement or a maintenance type thing with those radios because those radios are our lifeline. When the officer's out and when he's asking for help or something of that nature and they fail, that's bad. And we're running into some of them, and we anticipated this. That's why we put it in the budget, the number that we did. We were fortunate through some of the old contacts that I had, we were able to secure a bid of 150, or 100 and, I don't have my glasses on, but 158,000.
547.
So there is, thank you, there is quite a savings there. Now, there are some other, after we had gotten this bid and stuff like that, one of the other pieces is we need a gang charger What that is it, like, for instance, we're getting 12 radios, so we would get a gang charger where they're all connected, and we would have 12 spare batteries at the station. So if we were to get into let's say, barricaded subject or a kidnapping or something like that, where we had a long operation that went for hours, we would be able to just go and grab those extra batteries and put them on, and we wouldn't lose communication. So that gang charger and extra batteries comes out to less than $3,000. So that'll be something else that we'll get, but I didn't amend, I'd already sent you that one, I figured that out. But, so we're still gonna be far less than what was budgeted or approved in the budget early on. And these are the Apex 8000s. I don't know how familiar you are with radios, but these are like top of the line. These are things that we had in Victoria, and they are state of the art. They cost more, I'm not gonna hide from that, but they are much better than what we currently have. And it just gives us more, avails us of more of opportunity. These radios, they're Bluetooth, GPS enabled. So let's say an officer gets out into a pursuit, a foot pursuit. I can actually pull up and see where he or she is live. We don't have that. We have it in the car, right? If they get in a pursuit and they're going out into the county or something like that, through the camera system that we put, that you guys got us, the in-car systems, we have GPS through that. But if they get out of the car, we don't have ways to track them, whereas these radios will. Sir?
No foot pursuit capability.
Well, we
would
could
have
chase
any.
the person, but
Well,
you
yeah.
wouldn't be able to track
You
where they're
couldn't
going.
track 'em, but we
Yeah.
could with this.
And oftentimes, these guys could probably attest to it, I know I've been guilty of it, is you lose your radio sometimes, unfortunately, during that, or you don't, you're chasing, you're running like this, and you can't really reach down and grab to communicate where you're at. It's good for us to have that ability to be able to track them, should we need it. And God forbid something would happen in a foot pursuit. We gotta know where to go to give them help. So, but that's just one of the elements. Yes, sir.
So 12 radios,
12 portables. That's
Portable
the walkie,
radios.
that's like your walkie-talkie.
right, all for the police department.
Yes,
It's already a budgeted item,
that's correct.
coming in under the budget that you requested.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Richard, on that budgeted item for the radios, wasn't the fire department included in that budget, or no?
It's a separate
Okay,
budgeted
we'll just-
item, and this does not touch that or include that. So I haven't had a chance to get with Chief yet to talk about that, but this does not involve that or touch it in any way.
We'll be doing that too.
We will be doing that very shortly, yes, sir.
I think they're needed too.
They are, yeah.
And it is, thank you for bringing it up, but it is 12 portables and 10 in-car. So the entire fleet, even the vehicle that we intend
12 portable and 10 in the car.
25
correct.
total.
And the quote includes installation of those into the programming and installation into the cars.
Okay, so I looked at these sheets, that looked like a lot more than I thought. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Chief, anything else?
No, sir?
Make a motion, we authorize the city manager to purchase radios for the police department as budgeted up to $212,500.
Second.
Have a motion from Scardino, a second from Tucker. Open for additional discussion.
What, the old radios and that, are we gonna be just selling those, or trade-ins, or?
Chief, was there a trade-in factor here? Kind of like the other, if there's not, it'll be auctioned off, so.
Yeah, they're pretty old. So the value, there aren't very many departments that would probably grab them. However, have been talking to the city manager about ways that we can outsource, because we have a tremendous amount of equipment at the police department that has been collected over the years that we don't have any use for. And so we need to have a course of action where we can get rid of it. And there's a company called Gov Deals, that municipalities can subscribe to. And when you have these items, you can post it on there, and then people bid for it. And you're covered, it reaches all the benchmarks that the city has to have to protect itself from liability and things of that nature. And you just put it up there, and then it goes away. Now, they get it for what they want, and then we get whatever that is. But these things, they don't have any value, I mean,
Not a bad deal, because we don't want it.
we don't. Yeah, we don't. And when they do buy it off of Gov Deals, they have to come get it. And we can do vehicles. We have all that, when we replace the in-car camera systems, and all that stuff is in the garage at the police department. You know, we have to figure out a way. There's cages and partitions, and, I mean, there's consoles and all kinds of stuff over there that, we're gonna be getting rid of. This
90
is-
on 90s.
Yeah.
Usually with radios, I mean, ours are pretty aged, and radio companies, even a radio that's not aged, they don't even want any part of. And the radios today are basically computers.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
thank you, Chief.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 18, discussion and action of amending Personnel Manual, Chapter 6, Sections 6 through 19, electronic system access and usage by adding sections as required by Senate Bill 1893, TikTok use.
So Mayor, Council, so this was a new state law that came out, conversed with the city attorney and recommended this language, but this law regards that we have to have a specifically TikTok use in our personnel manual. It has to specify TikTok, but it also addresses other medians in there, I guess, as well. But city attorney crafted this, and this is what we're putting before you. So this will be the recommended update that we make in our personnel manual. And it covers, it's not about the content on a device, but it's about how a device is used that is city-owned device. Any questions? Did I explain that?
Yeah, it's just, yeah, the state don't like TikTok.
Not only the state.
Well, no, we actually, we may be changing it again. The last I read, some like TikTok. I guess Elon told me TikTok's good as a challenge.
Oh, there you go.
We may be back in 6 months because now the federal government has said we can't ban TikTok. But
Okay.
for now, this meets the state requirement, so whoever has a city-owned phone can't have TikTok on his phone.
Yes, sir, thank you.
No more videos.
Or no.
Computers. I don't know anyone that has TikTok, so the whole thing's kind of silly.
I have a TikTok, it's a clock on the wall. I don't have TikTok.
Anyway, we just need to add these sections to the personnel
Just so we're-
manual, and then we're good.
State compliance.
Everyone's be good.
Well, I move we ban TikTok.
Second.
I have a motion from Ulrich and a second from Roberts. Any additional discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 19, discussion and appointment of city representative to the Colorado County Appraisal District Board for 2-year term ending December 31, 2026. I'll take this one.
Thank you.
Okay. Obviously, last 2 years ago, we had issues about the appointment. We have always, in the past, the school has done the initial step in electing or confirming that they're representative, and we have always felt that they have a bigger investment in this than the city does. So that's, we have to share the same one. We can't have one, and the school can't have one. So we have, they have voted and passed that Mike Trefny, who was the current one, he has agreed to go another 2-year term. And so I'm just giving you the background of where we need to go. So if we choose to follow their lead, then that's what we would just need a motion to accept Mike Trefny as our representative.
I would so move.
Second.
I have a motion from Ulrich, a second from Tucker. Any additional nominations, recommendations? So we're going to nominate Mike Trefny. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 20, Weimar PD presentation, Weimar Police Department, presentation and collaboration and partnerships.
Good evening again. Let me see if I can figure out how to get this thing to work. There we go. All right. Well, you don't need to see that. That's my pretty wife and I in Cabo. Let's get off of that. There we go. All right. Tonight's presentation is at the request of the city manager to kind of lay the foundation or give you kind of a glimpse of what the police department is planning, some of the things that we have in the works, some of the things that we're on the road to beginning to do. Each one of those would be brought back to you at a different time whenever it goes into action. But this will certainly give you an idea of what we're talking about. And our intention is to begin collaborating and having partnerships with other local agencies, other police departments locally, as well as state and federal deals. So, and it came from the city manager. He requested that I do it so that you kind of get a front row seat of what we're planning on doing. So that being said, I'll start with whether you know it or not, the mission statement for Weimar PD is to reduce crime and the fear thereof. How do we do that? We do that through outstanding police services in partnership with the community. And that, when we talk about the community, yes, we've been working for about a year now to further strengthen our relationship with the public here, with the Weimar community. But now it's time to move on a little bit more, and that community also encompasses not just the citizens, but also the law enforcement community that surrounds this area. The main point in all of that is that the police department can't do it alone. You've heard me say before that the citizens are our eyes. You help us when you call us, you let us know, you make us aware of things that we can't be everywhere, and so we need your help, but we also need the help of those other areas around, and largely because due to our size, budget restraints, and lack of resources, we must partner with these other agencies. And I have on the slide that these partnerships are a vital strategy in making Weimar a safe community to live, to work, and to visit. So you might wonder, how do these benefit us? They enhance our crime reduction response. They bring additional resources, technology, and equipment to our area, as well as information. We gain other expertise through the collaboration and coordination, which is essential. Think about a active shooter situation. God forbid that we have something like that at the school. If we establish these relationships on the front end, we're going to be able to effectively communicate better should we be in such crises. It helps us with our community policing through collaboration efforts that we will do, and we've already done a lot of this. Isn't a new thing. The PD has done this for years, but I think this is why the city manager wanted me to share is that some of you are new on council and maybe not aware that it's necessary for us to partner with the surrounding agencies. We have an example of that, the following item, and I'll share that with you here in a little bit. But we need to build those stronger relationships because it adds transparency and accountability to us as well. Then we're going to get to organized crime, and I could do a whole presentation on organized crime, and you might be thinking, Chief, this isn't, New York. We don't have a problem with the mafia and organized crime like that. Well, guess what we do? If you live in Texas, more so in South Texas, you deal with what's called transnational crime. And if you've never heard that term, transnational crime, the definition of it is a crime that occurs over the border, right? It comes into our country. That's what makes it transnational. But specifically speaking, transnational crimes that we're dealing with are human trafficking, right? The trafficking of arms, illegal arms, drugs, money laundering. Councilman Tucker mentioned tonight about migrants, right, coming in. That's how they're getting in here. They're coming in and they're abusing the system to come in. They're all applying for work visas, right? But it's all connected to transnational crime. Money laundering, counterfeit goods is another example, and even cybercrime. And you may think that it's not affecting Weimar. Well, you can think that if that helps you sleep better at night, but as your police chief, I'm telling you that it is affecting Weimar. I-10 is a major thoroughfare for their network. I've been doing this a long time and have connections all over the state, and we dealt with it in Victoria on 59, running back and forth to Houston from the valley. Well, guess what? They worked so hard there that they caused them to change their routes. Guess what they're doing now? They're running up 37 to San Antonio, and they're coming right through Weimar on I-10. I could do an entire presentation that would bore you to tears, I'm sure, right? But a lot of it's fascinating on this is a major thoroughfare for their network. And this presentation is to kind of expose you to that so that as we come forward in the future with other things that we're doing, and I'll get to it on the next slide, different ways that we're already beginning to collaborate with some of these other agencies, it's going to be hard for us because this is beyond our means. A lot of these crimes are beyond our means, but through some of the partnerships with, I'll just go to the next slide, through the state and through the federal agencies, they're going to help us with that. They're able to help us dismantle it, so to speak, or thwart their efforts here in the Weimar community. But a lot of these agencies locally, we've worked with in one capacity or another over the years. Some of them that you might recognize or you might see on there and go, well, how are we dealing with, a Hallettsville PD or a Victoria County SO? Well, it's through those networks of gaining information. And I'll get into it a little bit with the, specifically with the migrants and the illegal aliens that are coming in and stuff like that. There are different operations that through the state, HIDA deals a lot with out of Houston deals a lot with the trafficking, right? And we're tied in with them. We're developing those relationships. But we're also on board to join Operation Lone Star. And what that is specific to things in this area in South Texas. They are meeting in January to have Colorado sign up as well as Fayette County. Well, we want to be right on that because then that allows us to work that whole area. And like I said, I don't want to get too far down into it, but that's how you dismantle this for your area. It's the only way you can. If they have weaknesses, then they will exploit those areas of weakness. So they can't do it on I-10. Well, then what do? They come up 155 from 90, right? From 90A. They come up 155 and then go up into LaGrange and across that way. They're very strategic, the cartel and some of these other groups. They're very strategic in how they do this. So we have to stay a step ahead of them. And the best way to do that is through this collaboration and these partnerships. I have a couple statements on here that I want you to think about. And one of it says that he who does not prevent crime when he can encourages it. Think about that. Many of you probably have all raised children. Think about your child. When you haven't corrected your child, what normally happens is they get worse, right? But really what it means is crime will only expand according to our willingness to put up with it. And I don't think any of you really want that to happen here. You like Weimar the way that it is, but everyone knows that Weimar is going to grow. And we're going to be exposed to more. And the best way to do that is to be prepared for it and deal with it now, right, instead of being reactatory. Right, we want to put things in place now. And that's what our plan is, to strengthen our bonds with these organizations around us so that we already do that long before these problems really hit home. So in conclusion, they're beneficial, and I think they're essential. And as you can see up there, some of these things are already underway. A couple months ago, you voted to work with Weimar ISD to have an SRO. Okay, you already know the update on that, so I don't have to tell you that. But it also, we've been working on improving our relationship with HIDA, which is the high-intensity drug trafficking area, and that's out of Houston. Homeland Security's up there, Border Patrol, and the reason we're doing that is to increase our awareness so that we know what to do. And the last thing that has been underway for a number of months, many of you don't know, but we have an officer that has been training and competing and going through the very rigorous test to join the Austin County Regional SWAT Team, and that's in the next presentation, so I won't spend too much in that, but so that we could put that, that piece together. There's a lot of different things that I'll come back to you and talk to you about, but this is just laying the foundation for it. And obviously, before we finalize some of these relationships, they'll be covered by, a memorandum of understanding or an ILA or an interlocal agreement. But we're really just seeking your support, and helping us, be our champions to, when people talk to you about it. These are vital things that the police department has to do, and we're hoping that you guys will help us with that, when you're asked about it. Because what it will do is it will make this a more resilient community. It really will. And with that, I'll answer any questions you have pertaining to this.
I just have a comment.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank both. This helps the community understand what we, as council, already somewhat know, how there's been a change in things, and it's good that the citizens get an idea where you're putting your efforts into, and just for both of you.
Mayor, council, these programs, thank you for that, Mayor. These programs, being involved and engaged in them is essential to our health and safety, first and foremost. But it takes across the state, as the chief was saying, it takes all these agencies working together and collectively across the state. This is not just a big city problem. This affects more smaller cities than it does bigger cities, because they know that that's where the weaknesses are, so they're going to exploit that. So it's imperative that we be involved in this, and it actually makes our guys, as the chief mentioned, better prepared and to deal with these issues.
And it's give and take, it's not just all take.
Right.
We do our part too.
Right. Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Thank you, Chief.
Sure. All right. Moving on. Oh, sorry, I'll wait for you, Mayor, to say the agenda. My bad.
Agenda item 21, discussion and action on authorizing city manager to enter into an interlocal agreement with Austin County Regional Special Response Team.
Very good. As mentioned in the previous deal, these partnerships are essential. And tonight, we have the opportunity to take a step forward. And we have been working to establish a relationship with Austin County's Special Response Team. And I'll get into it in the next slide. But this will, in and of itself, bring additional resources immediately to Weimar. So if you're not real familiar, or if you don't really know what a Special Response Team does, Special Response Team is just a fancier way to say SWAT, right? It's Special Weapons and Tactics, okay? But it's here is they call their Special Response Team. And what a Special Response Team primarily does is they handle the violent offenders, the high risk. They handle the high risk search warrants, so high risk arrest warrants and things of that nature. Well, you may think, well, we don't really have those in Weimar. Well, we do. And as we begin to address some of the crimes that are occurring, we're going to probably have more of it. But what this does is this allows, we would call them, they follow a threat matrix, and what that means is it's a scoring sheet, and once it reaches a certain number, then it's an automatic activation that the officers don't go and handle it, because it really requires your Special Response Team's members They have the specialized equipment, the extra body armor, you know, that is able to stop stuff. They have communication equipment that's better than what we are. And their tactical training is beyond what your normal, regular daytime patrol officer gets. That's really what it's for. And working in partnership with them, as I said, is it will bring those additional resources to us. And it's normally handled by an interlocal agreement. I know I'm getting ahead of myself here. But we actually have the ability to put one of our members, a Weimar PD officer, on the Austin County SRT team. This is a very rigorous task to get on their team. You have to be invited to be on their team. And Corporal Ellis, would you stand up? He has gone through, ended up in a hospital. He wouldn't quit. He fell out and had to be taken to the emergency room. But he has gone through it. He has gone through the program, and they've invited him to join the team. So based on your approval tonight, that I hope that we get, Jason will start almost immediately, you know, to be on the team. So I know I got ahead of myself there. But anyhow, well, like anything else, certain things cost money, you know, and because of that special, you know, the body armor that they need, and because of the weapons and the communication equipment and things of that nature, it comes with a price tag of $15,500. But I believe in this so much, and that it's essential for us to participate in this, that we will use asset forfeiture. Should you approve it, we will use asset forfeiture funds to pay for it, the equipment, the startup cost. And that'll get him everything that he needs. It is, Corporal Ellis knows that this is, we cannot sacrifice the safety of Weimar to participate in this. So this will be on his off shifts. If there are times that he's asked to participate on a call out or something like that, and we have time, then we'll move our schedules around to afford him the opportunity. But primarily, this will be done on his off time, so it does not affect. We're not going to send him there sacrificing the safety of what we're doing. We've worked too hard to instill the structure that we have. So this is over and above that. On average, they train or have call-outs 2 to 3 times a month. As I said, it will not affect the regular shifts. And the estimated cost of that annual deal would only be $3,500, and that's for the labor cost that would come with it on the call-outs. Benefits to Weimar. Approximately 20 to 25 well-trained SWAT officers without added personnel costs. Remember, I was talking earlier about some of these things are beyond our means. We don't have the money to equip all of our officers and train our officers and buy all the specialized equipment. We don't have the money. But by placing one person on their team, then we have access to all 20, 25 of them. And they are well-trained, and they know what they're doing, and we don't have to pay that cost. We don't have to pay for that equipment, other than the initial equipment that we equipping our officer, and they come into town. And the training and the exposure that Jason gets, Corporal Ellis gets, he passes that on to our officers, so they're benefiting from it as well. But also, we have a training called Alert. It's active shooter training that the officers are required to every 2 years to take it. Well, it costs money to send them to the schools. Well, on this team, they have members that teach it, so that'll help, offset some of those costs as well. And it also will establish a better relationship should those critical incidences occur. As mentioned, the interlocal brings resources and personnel to our community. To that end, the city attorney has already reviewed it. We drafted the interlocal and sent it to him, and he didn't find any issues. Should you have any questions or he has any comments, by all means. But we're seeking a motion that you authorize the city manager to enter into this interlocal agreement so that we can place one of our members on a special response team. And with that, I'll answer any questions that you might have.
Bo, you have anything? Just the agreement's good for you?
Well, I mean, that's not a statement whether it should be approved or not.
sound.
The stuff that I was concerned about was, you know, is whether we were incurring any additional liability in terms of if something happened to the officer without law enforcement necessarily being found. So, yeah, no, if you guys want to enter into the agreement, that's legal, it's fine.
And that's questions that we might not have even thought to ask, so that's why I asked you to give input, just like the chief that gave input to educate us. Thanks, chief.
Make a motion to authorize the city manager to enter into an interlocal agreement with Austin County Regional Special Response Team.
Second.
Have a motion from Tucker, a second from Scardino. Any additional discussion?
Just a comment, that it
Yes, go
seems
ahead.
to me that the information that would come from the exchange would be priceless.
It's valuable, it is.
Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 22, discussion and action on ordinance amending Code of Ordinances on residential requirements for city manager and police chief. I'll also take this one. So, in our previous meetings, council has asked our attorney to draft an update to make things a little bit more specific or clearer for the terms established residency for a city manager and the police chief. So Mr. Dawson has done so. He has left, I think, blanks for how you guys want to fill in specific numbers. This is just basically from today forward, if this passes with your request. From today forward, this does not affect our current situation with our city manager and our police chief. This is moving forward. So,
And the language from that, Mayor, if you mind,
Sure.
The additional is the purple number 22 tab that you have, so that's the language that was,
and I like that you do it that way. Fumbling through. Discussion, input.
Mayor, I think I was certainly someone who was vocal in regard to this. I think it's an important tenet for the community. It certainly was expressed that way to me. I'd like to have something in the ordinances that we can depend on as far as a definition, but the council would also have, and I guess that's kind of a question, council would always have an opportunity to say, yes, but in light of this particular candidate, we might set that aside as well.
So if you specifically pass this with the specific numbers you're looking for, as days or whatever, and if that situation comes up, you can always come back and change the ordinance to be worded more loosely or for that particular candidate. Yep. Today is just trying to help with the conversations of Facebook and things like that that have created, and in some respect, the right conversations. It may have just been loosely language in here. So that's kind of where we are today. Yep. We can always change the ordinance down the road if we have to, but this is trying to make sure that we're taking care of the language piece of it.
Do we need to put anything in the ordinance that specifies this does not apply to Richard? So that, you know, we get a new council in a year and they come in and say the ordinance says that applies. We're not going back, running circles.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have the minutes saying that the class going forward,
But I was thinking that the minutes would reflect that.
but, you know, it.
But is that
Well,
sufficient?
Because if you get a new council in, they can do whatever they want. They
Well,
can
that's
come in
true.
and say, we don't, I mean, no matter what we put in, a different council can come and say, we don't like that language. We're going to remove the grandfather, for example. So there's no sense putting it in. We know from the minutes
Well, it's-
World, yeah, whatever. So the easiest way to do that is say, well, we need you staying this many nights a week here. And then you guys can pick, you can say 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 2, 1, however many you think exhibits living environment.
My thinking when I was looking at this, it would be, you're here more than you're not, so that would be, I'd say, 4 days of work,
A good suggestion.
just a thought. I don't have many. No. Fleeting at all times.
Yeah, and as I read it, we probably should put in there like the word average, because you don't want somebody
Yes.
jumping on Facebook and saying, he was on vacation last week, he didn't spend any nights in one.
Correct.
And that alludes away from vacation. It doesn't have anything to do with your vacation. It just,
Because I will tell you that that's exactly what some,
yes, sir.
Yeah, no, I'm not on Facebook, but I understand there are people that live for the Facebook night.
even those of us who are not, get it sent to us on a regular basis.
So,
Thank you for not sharing it.
I could change that. I could send it to you.
I use the term, the spirit of what this is about is, even if you own the house here, you have your vacation days that you're able to take. So, it's just about that phrase of established residency, to put a little bit, the term I used earlier is to put a little bit more teeth in it, so there's not the gray area type thing. So, and if you're comfortable with the way our attorney has drafted it and you want to put a specific number that's already been suggested of 4, then that's good. If you
We can use whatever verbiage, it's all about the person. And there comes a time where that may be the case.
Yeah. Correct. And then that can change by that council that would do that. It will require a motion and a number, and I'm not rushing, but it got quiet, so I'm just making sure I'm following
Since
up.
I was mouthing off about it all the time, I'll make the motion.
That's not what I
And
intend.
if it doesn't get a second, then we move to
Okay,
item
then-
23. All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the wording for the city attorney on amending the ordinance for the code, I guess, addressing residential requirements for city manager and police chief as being required to be here on an average 4 days a week.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Motion is from Tucker, second is from Robert.
Hang on.
What?
I would prefer the motion say nights.
Nights.
So that we don't get into this.
Correct.
Good
I
idea.
was-
Like, well, I was here all day and then I left.
I was, in the discussion piece, I was gonna say that, but, yeah,
That's why we have an attorney.
yes, yeah,
So I would have meant it to say nights,
okay.
because I don't want to get pictures about that either.
Yeah. So everybody
Second.
We
still good
understand.
with
Yes.
the friendly amendment is the term I'll use,
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
Any additional discussion?
I hope not.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, people.
Agenda item 23, acceptance and action on ordinance amending, I just did that one. Acceptance of petition from Howard L. Katz for creation of Colorado County Emergency Service District Number 1, countywide.
So Mayor, Council, the attorney brought this into us last week. So this is a petition for the Emergency Service District for Colorado County. So it's in your packet, but we will actually put this on council's agenda for December. So it gives council time to review it. I haven't even had a chance to read it myself, so I don't even know what's in it. But I did have a conversation with Mr. Katz, and the Commissioners Court met on Tuesday, I believe, this week, and they did establish that the date for the public hearing was selected to be January, and I believe it's January the 7th. So, but it is the beginning of January, because in the petition, they talk about December 10th, or maybe it was January 13th, but I do know that the public hearing is in January, so, but I can bring the exact date and time for you at next council meeting, but it'll be, council will actually put it on the agenda to make that decision next month.
Someone's gonna
Just
come
to
to
know,
discuss
did
this.
you guys consider the letter, like, Mr. Cat, and when the city manager said the attorney, he wasn't referring to the different term. I think there's a typo, this was kind of a form letter, that it should say City of Weimar Municipal Boundaries instead of City of Columbus.
Okay.
And he did say he would be here to speak to it, so,
For the public hearing,
for the next council
council
meeting.
meeting, okay.
Yeah, I mean, all this is doing is saying, put it up to be heard and voted on. It's not, you're not voting to establish this.
Okay.
You're
So the
just
people will decide.
to hear.
Well,
election?
yeah, you have to have an election.
Well, it's gonna be a tax increase.
Yeah.
Exactly, because that's, when I read this, I said, well, this is gonna cost the taxpayer.
Right.
And what's it do to our equipment, our buildings?
Well, the only thing you know, the bunker gear alone for one fireman is north of $2,000. And it goes out every 10 years. You know, our helmets go out in 10 years, our bunker gear go out in 10 years, the air packs go out in 10 years. I mean, they have a life expectancy. You know, we used to wear, when I first got in the fire department, I might have had stuff that was 20 years old. But now all the regs, I mean, it's nuts. I mean, it's crazy. You know, air pack is $5,000. You know, and if you go to a house fire, you need a half a dozen air packs with, you know, another half a dozen bottles or more. And it all expires. And if somebody gets hurt and you have expired gear or expired equipment, it's bad news.
You're in a world of hurt.
And I'm just saying that the small departments are getting killed. And that's more or less the whole purpose of this. I mean, you want fire protection? You know, if Weimar Fire Department goes away, you know, wait on Columbus.
Right. For what's worth, I support Attorney Cat. I
Because,
think this is,
you know, Bo's out in the country,
we
and
collect money for a lot of other work stuff than the fire department.
if he has to wait on Columbus rather than Weimar to come to his house, you know, just,
Let it burn.
yeah, rock on. No, but anything registered with it or sanctioned by the NFPA, you know, the cost is multiplied by 5, 10, you know, whatever. Expensive.
And I guess this entity helps mitigate that?
Well, we're gonna get a cut of the, you know, depending upon the number of calls that Weimar has or the number of calls that Columbus has, it's my understanding, you know, we'll be allocated monies for pumpers and gear and
We'll be a stakeholder in how the ESD is written. In other words, right now, it's the proverbial concept of
$40,000. You know, now it's $200,000. You know, pumpers, you know, I think 23, you know, we bought for $250,000, now it's $1 million. You know, it's just nuts, you know.
We just wouldn't want to see our guys get shortchanged in any way. And sounds like
I
it
don't,
would.
you know, it's kind of a deal where in order for us to exist, this pretty much gotta happen.
So the distribution of funds could probably come in different ways. It could come based on population that we have, or it could be probably based on mileage.
I mean, I would recommend that we be involved in the
Yes, sir.
process of crafting the legislation. for the election. And I think part of being involved would be agreeing that there should be an election. Because if you say, we don't sign a petition, and then you call and say, but can we be a stakeholder in the discussions? I mean, they're gonna laugh. That would be what I would do. So, but we're not committing to anything other than to commit to, we think this should be put to the people.
Correct.
And by supporting that, we want to be part of the discussions of what is put to the people.
You as an individual would be able to vote on that, not as a council.
Yes.
Yeah, no, the council doesn't have the authority
Yeah.
to form any entities.
It's just, we're officially accepting this, and it's on record that we have. And Mr. Christian at TML, his eyes got pretty big and shiny when he saw those new trucks that are sitting there, so, and they are pretty expensive.
And street sweepers.
Yeah. Oops, I didn't go there.
But not tonight, when you're accepting it. That
Oh,
would be
correct.
done in December, yes.
Just we're acknowledging that we have received. Yeah.
And we wouldn't be building a new
See, that's all part of things that has,
and we wouldn't be building a new station.
Like Brownsburg.
Ours needs a little improvement, but
Oh, we got your,
everybody good?
I mean, whether you, ultimately you say, well, you could build a new
Right.
station, but all of this all depends on the tax rate.
Money,
and,
yeah.
You know, I mean, it's,
well, yeah, I mean, we certainly, well, we need a lot of things.
Okay, that's all we need, Dolores? Oh, okay. Agenda item number 24, report on fall cleanup day.
So Mayor, Council, so you have that report before you, so our past cleanup day was pretty good. Here's the numbers. You see basically what we did compared to last year, that was pretty significant. So I think it was a success, and we plan on scheduling the next one.
I do know people do really appreciate it, yes. As well as Derek. Agenda item 25, future agenda items.
I would like to see that, some way to address these single-family households and the occupancy of the same. Some kind of ordinance to address that.
We bound to have something that.
Well, I asked Doris, and I figured she would know, but she says we don't.
I thought we had how many families could be living in a residence.
No. We had it up on the agenda one time and we discussed it, but nothing was ever approved.
Or some of the other things that we've discussed tonight, that's becoming a critical issue.
yeah, I mean, it's just food for thought, and if you guys want on the agenda, start thinking about how you're gonna define a single family. Because you probably already have multi-generational families, and so you guys are gonna have to be crafts on that.
Exactly.
Make sure, send me an email with what you want to accomplish, because you're probably not gonna make everyone happy no matter what you write. We'll just make the least number of people unhappy.
Great way
Or
to
the
put it.
people that we want to be unhappy, to be unhappy.
Good way to put that, too.
I think that was a good way to put it.
Anybody else have an agenda item for Richard? Agenda item number 26, announcements.
Mayor, council, so the first announcement, November 22nd, will be our first staff development workshop day. So we will close City Hall that afternoon and allow all staff to come together and engage in some staff development as a whole. So we're excited about that piece. We'll put notices out ahead of time to make sure that everyone knows. We've looked at the dates. There's no critical deadlines or anything around that time, but we'll put out ample notice so that everyone knows that we'll be shutting down early that day. The second item is, remind you all, employee appreciation dinners. Be sure and put that on your calendar. We're looking forward to the excellent meal I hear about from the fire department on the 13th, so that'll be at
Is it
6
lobster?
p.m.
Steak and lobster this year? I thought that's
And
what
then
it
I
was.
want to add one more item that, and then one more item that's not listed on here that was completely missed at the beginning of this is, we do have a new employee, so David, if you'd like to introduce your new employee.
I was wondering.
Introduce our new employee, Diana. You stand up, Diana. She's gonna be doing our utility billing and helping out. And so if you need anything, she'll be interested in helping answer the phone. Send her an email if you need anything.
You're the one.
Yeah, he's gonna be the culprit.
We're pleased to have her on board.
And that's all the announcements we have.
I'll make the motion, we adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn at 7:45.
Fill out these